All right, we're getting into what I've been waiting for with Build King. It's weird because like the author from I haven't read all of his series. For the most part, I think he's had like a one short serialization before Toriko, and then he had Toriko, which had like almost 400 chapters. But like in Toriko, like there's a lot of action, like a lot of very brutal action, and I've been waiting for Build King to get to get to some of the more action scenes because like he's obviously very skilled at it, and I was like, I want to see like just him, flex his style of battles in this series. So it was like, okay, well, I wonder when we're gonna get to that point, and then it looks like we're getting to it now. He spent a lot of the time up until the last couple chapters, building the the stuff with Tonkatchi, giving us a lot about his character and whatnot. I've really liked that. That's one of the reasons I do like this series already, is because I like Tonkatchi as a main character, as well as giving us a lot of information about Vigor, which already has one of the better power systems just in the general structure of it, but also it's very simple and understanding, which that's one of the things I really like about their power system. And on top of that, like you see it expanded upon even more in this chapter, because we had in an explanation about the different colors and what they do, and now in this chapter we also get that you can mix colors and see how they're essentially kind of just like where exactly they can like lead to if mixed. Like we have Haka use this ability of bubble, was it bubble rack? I think he's what he called it. And I can't remember the guy's name. The one who the haunted dude who's got two people in his body. I think it was Natch and Nosh or something. I have to go back and look exactly what his name was. But he says that it's mixed with red and brown vigor. So you have red, which is like the buffing one. It just makes stuff like outright more durable, stronger. And the brown one is elasticity, so you essentially made a very, very strong bubble. Like legit, think of it kind of like fourth gear Luffy when he has like his hockey on. So it's both armored, but because of his his rubber body, it's flexible armor, which makes it even harder to deal with. It's a very, very, very tough rubber. So it's going to be way more difficult just generally to break it. So when you see Tonkatchi, because I like that Ranga goes in and saves him and ends up getting trapped instead. But you see Tonkatchi go to try and pop the bubble, and he's got the worst. Like he has the worst style of trying to do it, because he's he's hitting it with his hammer. He's got the blunt force of it. Blunt force on a very on rubber is like the worst possible thing you can do. It's just gonna get squished down and stuff. So he's in a rough spot. Like, I'm wondering if he's going to have to pull out the shovel attachment, because he still has it. And I personally, I feel like he's going to end up being able to take the top off of his Vigor hammer and put the shovel head on. Or maybe put it on the bottom. I don't really know. My belief is that he's going to have to do it that way. But, I mean, he only has what looks to be a couple meters right now. But I don't think even with the 10 meters he's going to be able to break it. I think he's going to have to go to the shovel. Because, like, the thing about, like, this bubble is you're going to have to do, like, a piercing style attack. Because, like, think, again, very easy to compare it, thanks to Luffy with his rubber armament, is, like, he in general is very resistant to blunt force attacks, and then, with hockey and, like, the elastic kind of, like, style of hockey, it makes it even more so. Whereas, like, he would still, he still's got a weakness to piercing attacks, so, like, the tip of the shovel, obviously, comes to a point. Maybe he can do something like that. Like, have the shovel out and then like a lunge attack and then extend it, so like as it's extending it's going to be building up force to that point. Maybe he can pop the bubble, because we do get information in this chapter that Tonkatchi has a special vigor, which I've been wondering like what exactly his main character thing is going to be, because always the main characters have some form of special thing about them. You're seeing it from their perspective, because that's why they're the main character. And at the start of the chapter, we see a dead nail mole, and I'm guessing that's when Tonkatchi hit. And then it's kind of back to when Haka, when they're kind of going over the thing, they're like, oh, they're after this child's vigor. So I think that's just more hinting at Tonkatchi being a special case. And they mentioned that there's something beyond the normal basic 8 vigors from the haunted dude. And he says there's one more color mixed in other than the basic 8. So I'm wondering what exactly that's going to be like revealed to. My guess is it'll be like an easy kind of like outside the color, so you get like black, white, or gray or something. Or if there's like, I don't know what it would be, like a transparent or maybe like a multicolor or I don't really know. I feel like black, white, or gray is the easiest one because when they say like you have to have a special vigor to kill the nail moles, I'm thinking of just like if we're gonna have a color thing. The first thing I thought of is like the lantern colors for DC, and then you have like the black color, which is death. So is that gonna be like what you know what's going on for Tonkatchi? It's an interesting concept. I do like it. It'll be really cool if Tonkatchi has like this darker style of his power, but given his character, it would mesh well because he's just this very nice dude. He's a very pure-souled character, and I think it'd be badass to see him with that. Plus, if he's got it, like the crystallization of their vigor is the same color, so would he have like a sick black armor or something, or maybe like a black colored hammer? I don't know. Either way, we're getting information on just like generally like how things are being built up with the bad guys and stuff, and Smith, like Smith comes in like he's a red clothesline, so obviously he's using red vigor, and he just launches Haka right through like this big cliffside and just gives him an intense hit. I thought that was really cool. I like Smith. I think he's actually pretty cool so far. I like his design. He's just got this big brutish build to him, but he's actually really friendly and he seems really nice and just a little. He's got a little bit of that silliness to him, but at the same time he's very cool and he seems very mature and knowledgeable. So I really like the idea of Tonkatchi training under Smith. I'm hoping so, because he did mention that Tonkatchi has the same problem that Smith had when he was a kid, where he just has so much vigor and he can't control it. So obviously they would do really well working together. But after that, like there's a statement from Haka, and he says Moguni and Minchi. And he's like, time to wage war. I didn't really think about it at the time because like the other characters we haven't had a lot of, and even out of the other participants in like this exam, the other people that I'd first think about is like Bar, because we got like a moment for him. Plus he seems pretty cool. And then Eliki, Shizuka Eliki, ninja builder, the shinobi builder. He's cool. I like him so far. But I didn't really think of these other characters. Like you had, I guess instead of Pokiminchin, it's Boko Minchi and Moguni. I didn't expect either of them to be evil at all. Like you have one that's a healer, so I didn't expect her to be a bad person. And then you have Moguni, who's like short and silly, so like he has this very silly design. He's got like the weird mohawk. He's again short. He's got a unibrow. I didn't expect him to be a bad guy, but it is for interesting to have that whole have that switch. And I guess there's Satan Hill's residents, and that being the bad guy group we're starting to see presented. And then other people like amongst the crowds having like their face like split open, and we're getting like characters from Satan Hills being revealed, and all these other characters are now like, all right, I guess we're gonna get into some battles now. And so that's gonna be neat in general. Like I'm hoping with some of these other people we see like a panel. Like it doesn't even have to be like a scene. If we could just get an instance of their abilities and stuff. Like with Nana, like maybe we see like a different attack with his whip, or with what's her name, Akana, seeing what exactly her attacks are like and stuff. I think that'll be just fun in general. But like these bad guys showing up, I didn't expect it to get this crazy so fast. I know some people were like mentioning it's similar to one of the parts in Toriko, but it's taken like a very different turn in terms of like how it's being presented, and the fact that Renga's the one being captured. And I like the moment where Tonkatchi's like, hang on, Renga, and he's got his the vigor hammer out and he's pressing the button, and it's a panel of Tonkatchi in the more serious style of him. I still actually really like that that art shift with him. It reminds me of Charmy from Black Clover, the way that like she'll be drawn in like the little cute chibi style, and then like you see her in the more serious style, like from her more adult version, or you see like her what she looks like regularly. I like that a lot. I like that with Tonkatchi. It gives him just a little bit of a tone shift. Very easy to tell when he's serious, when he's drawn in a lot more of a cool manner. But with him, I'm wondering if they're going to get taken, or Renga's going to get taken, because when he gets stuck in the bubble, Haka says, like, oh, well, the second order or something like that. Let me find the panel. Oh, he says, like, oh, no matter what, got the order backwards. So Renga was definitely on list, because Renga obviously Renga's going to have something special about him in general, and obviously being trained by Shovel, like, he's got value to him. But, like, that means that Tonkatchi was target number one. They wanted Tonkatchi. He was the primary person they were aiming at. And here he's just like, all right, well, we're going to take this guy. And they've got Renga captured. So if Tonkachi doesn't break him out, like I said, like if he figures out a way to pop the bubble, like either with his special vigor when it's revealed exactly what's special about it, or if he switches the hammer top off for the shovel, because again, the way that the bubble is described of how it works, like a hammer is not really going to work on it. Like there's always the fact that in like worlds that like you can explain like if there's just so much overwhelming force, then like the elasticity and the durability of the bubble couldn't take it. But I don't think Tonkachi can do that, just based off of like the fact that that Haka is able to contend with Smith. And Smith, we don't know exactly how powerful he is, like in the grand scheme of things, but he's clearly powerful. And like Haka took damage, but the fact that he was able to get up from him, and there was some hype around his attack, because one of the 10 edifices, I can't remember exactly his name, the haunted guy, because he's got 2 names, apparently 2 people in that body, but he couldn't pop it with his vigor bullets. So clearly, like, this bubble is going to be really strong. If Tonkachi either through means, like I said, of popping it through with the shovel head or with special vigor, that's one thing. But if he doesn't and Renga gets taken, is it going to be like he's got to train to go and retrieve Renga? Maybe something set up like that? Not really too sure. But then we get like this interaction between Boko and Bar. And she's like, Bar Taurus, a monster hybrid, your vigor is charming. Says, I like you, so I don't want to kill you. Which is, again, it's really interesting because it means that maybe that's why she decided to heal his hand when it was broken. But Bar doesn't seem really like cool with this at all. And like Beeper is like going off about like these are people from Satan Hills. I really liked the panel of Satan Hills, like weird colossal like house beast with like this spooky design. It's like all in black with like these spooky eyes in the middle and it's looming over it. It reminds me of this is a Yu-Gi-Oh card, Despair from the Dark. Let me look this up real quick, just because if you know what I mean, you'll understand exactly of like just the general presence of it. I'm trying to remember, but I'm looking it up. Yeah, Despair from the Dark. It just has this spooky big monster like on the edge of like the shadows, getting ready to just to make his move. It's cool, and I really like the odd designs already. And like, it's got all the crosses and graves in front of it, too. It just looks badass. And you see some of their like, architecture. It looks like it's made with people. It's very spooky. But at the same time, they're gearing up for some of the bigger things going on. And they're saying that, like, that the master builders of Build-On would be more of a fitting opponent for the Annex soldiers. And I'm guessing those are going to be, like, their equivalent, their higher-ranking people. And then you see Eliki, and he gets on the other side. He doesn't know this is going on. Obviously, he thinks that we're getting ready for the third part of the exam, and he runs into these 2 people that have house beasts with them, and they're like, is this person for Build-On? Because we just ran out of vigor for our machines. Would they be machines, or would they be house beasts? Because I can't really tell. Because it'd be similar in like how in Toriko, they have the Nitro, but then they have the GT Robos, which were like replicas of them. So it's like maybe these aren't even house beasts; these are like imitations of house beasts, which would make sense. And why they're saying like they ran out of vigor fuel, and now that like this battle's going on, and like the chapter ends with Kopu bringing up like you figure out what type of vigor Tonkachi has. So I'm very excited to see how that's gonna just go in the next chapter. It's actually a very fast-paced chapter. I really liked it. I thought it was a lot of fun. It's building up the action. I like the designs. The design that I don't know if we're really going to see anything of it, but I liked it in general, is when those guys and their faces started splitting open, you just see some of like these big bad guys, like minions, with the Satan Hills logo on them, and the guy has like circular saws on his shoulders. I think that just was cool in general. Like, these guys look interesting. Like, one guy's got like a robotic hammer arm, but I do really like the circular saw shoulders. I think that just look cool in general. I'm guessing like their things are like they have these weird modified slave workers or something, and they have their bodies manipulated to have these tools that would make them more useful, but also for combat and stuff. I really want to see how this goes, because like they're mentioning, like, unlike Build-On, whose goal is to build a safe and peaceful world, Satan Hill's organization just wants to build a world under their control. So you have Build-On, which is funny because similar to how 2x4 was the Build King in the one-shot, Build-On was the bad guy group in the one-shot, whereas they're the good guys here. They're trying to build like a good world, whereas Satan Hills wants to have like this very like tight grasped hold over everything. So I really want to see where this goes. I've been mentioning since the start. Anybody who's listening to my review knows that I've mentioned multiple times. I really want to see who the bad guy groups are in this series. Now we're getting at the Satan Hills. I think it's really cool that you essentially have this it's like the bad guy group, but obviously because of the Build King setup, like their base is like part of their whole setup as well. I think that's really cool, and we already know once we actually see more about Satan Hills, they're gonna look really spooky. I mean, look at their buildings. Like they have stuff made out of people. Looks very, very like just horror-esque in general. Anyway, it's funny because this has probably been one of my favorite chapters, but this is probably one of my shortest reviews, just because again it moved very fast-paced, and a lot of the stuff that I think actually makes it better. It's we already got the explanations and information out of Vigor, so any of the stuff mentioning in this chapter we already knew, and so the action makes a lot of sense, and you don't have to think a ton about the aspects of it because we know how it all works. And I think that's what Shimabukuro has been doing. He's been taking his time setting stuff up, so when we can see the action and stuff going on, it can move at a faster pace without as many questions going on. You don't have to realize if they didn't explain Vigor and we had the whole bubble rack and it's the brown and red Vigor and exactly what's special about it, we wouldn't know. It'd just be oh, I wonder what that is. I wonder when we're explaining about these colored Vigors and stuff. And we already got that, so we were able to understand a lot of the ways that their powers work already. So I like that a lot. I've enjoyed this. Clearly, I've been mentioning, I've been liking Build King. And it's also looking when Nana is and Quark are overhead, and you see that big fissure that Taurus, Bar Taurus is the other guy, that Smith made. I think that just looks really cool. So this big gash in the landscape just looks badass. But anyway, other than that, though, comment below. Tell me your thoughts about this chapter. I really want to see some of these fights. I don't expect a ton. I don't expect a battle for each character. I'm hoping we just get a battle for Tonkachi and then maybe Smith and Eliki. Those are probably my three that I will that I'll put my hopes on, because Tonkachi, main character. Smith is a very powerful guy, clearly, and he'll be the guy that we get to see just a lot of big flexes from, and a lot of really cool, more experienced moves. And then Eliki, I really like him so far. I think he's pretty cool. And then he's got a really interesting power. In fact, his is erosion, and he's a ninja. I think that'll be fun just to see displayed. But anyway, other than that, though, comment below. Tell me your thoughts about this chapter, and tell me your thoughts about what's coming up and how your takes on the series are. Do you agree that with all the explanation of Vigor and stuff, that just made this chapter go way more smoothly? I don't know. That might just be me. I don't think so, though. I think that with the explanation and stuff, like I said, I was able to figure out a really good way to just go over why this bubble is so powerful, and able to not even get phased by Tonkachi after seeing how strong Tonkachi is, because we know how brown and red Vigor work, and mixing them together, it just makes a lot of sense. But anyway, other than that, don't comment below. Thumbs up the video for the like button, subscribe button, check out my other videos. Other than that, thanks to everyone who's already subscribed. Thank you for listening. Bye.